Welcome to Single Tree Nation. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the host and owner of Single Tree Woodfire Barbecue. We are here to build community through undeniable hospitality, storytelling, and the perfect plate of barbecue. Welcome back to Single Tree Nation, where we are always having a blast, especially pre-show. Oh Lord, today is Jesus.
That visual still there.
Jumping in the deep end early,
yeah,
baby.
Just keep thinking about that rolling towel. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You know.
Oh,
it's a joke.
Find Charlie at the restaurant. Ask him.
Yeah, not a joke for air. Oh Lord. So look, we have Derry, our wonderful, illustrious co-host.
What's up, everybody?
With us, and then we have a very special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Joe Adams.
Yes, sir.
Relentless Pursuit.
What is up?
If you don't know him, you're about to learn about him. He has got an absolutely amazing story that we're going to dive into from start to finish, from where he began to where we're at today, and all the things. So, Joe, I had the pleasure to be on your show last week, and honored to have you on our show.
It's an honor to be here.
I'm going to go ahead and throw out there early. I did go to your website,
and
watch your little 13-minute like docu-film, little short snippet.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and tell everybody now to watch that.
Yep.
Like that was 13 minutes worth the time of well done, sir.
I appreciate it.
Done.
And
Yes,
it's crazy. It's crazy too because a lot has transpired since then. Because that was a few years ago.
Okay, well,
so I need to do another one. But
do a part two.
Yeah.
It hooked me. Like I was watching it this afternoon. I'm sitting out back. And I was like, oh my gosh! Like
I watched it. I watched it and I cried.
Yeah,
like because I never hear myself tell the story.
And
then like being able to hear it and with the music and stuff too, right? That amplifies it. I was like, dude,
I started getting worked up.
Yeah.
One of my best friends died on a motorcycle, and
shoot.
like when what you were describing, I could just oh my gosh, like you obviously lived through your accident,
yes,
and my friend didn't, but it was just I was right there emotionally, and so well done, sir.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know if you give congratulations for that, but that's congratulations on 6 months in the hospital.
Yeah.
So
hey, it was worth it. It was worth it.
So
it's better than a Magnum towel.
Yeah, right. So talk about that.
Just saying. Oh man. So look, our show, if you haven't seen it, we are pretty laid back.
Yeah.
We talk about a little bit of everything. We have different segments, just like a lot of podcasts do. I don't have any dad jokes for you today, Derry.
Oh man,
I'm sorry. I've had a very busy day.
Oh come on.
I didn't have time to put it together, but
going into
I need to get my shit together.
The Father's Day weekend. Everybody will hear this after Father's Day, but and you got no dad jokes.
Yeah,
I'm hurt a little bit, man.
No.
Same for next year.
But the Father's Day episode had quite a few.
It did. So, you did. There you go. Well done.
I tried to layer it in there. So, well, Joe, I'll give you the floor. Why don't you take 30, 60 seconds, an hour, whatever you need to tell us who you are and what you do and what you believe in, man.
Yeah, so I guess I can just kind of start with where I'm at now. My name's Joe Adams. I own Relentless Pursuit. Got a headquarters here in Murfreesboro. Started that as an apparel company and is now evolved, running it out of a guest bedroom. Now it's evolved into a 2,500 square foot space. Got a gym in the back, do some personal training there. Got a coach that also rents out that space and has a team. Got the muscle medic guys there, so they do all kinds of healing and recovery. So plug for them. If y'all got any ailments in your body, they're the best around. And then I run the apparel stuff out of there, and then I got my podcast that I record out of there. And I live right across the street from that building in a neighborhood with my wife and 1-year-old daughter.
Nice.
And I'm blessed beyond belief. They're everything to me. So
yeah,
and that's what I'm doing. I stay plugging away
Fellow
all the
girl
time.
dad, he doesn't know. Hey, yeah, I got you though, man.
Yeah, girl dad, man, it's nothing like it.
Be ready, brother.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I love
it's
it.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
it is absolutely fantastic.
Look, I've been saying for at least 10, 12, 18 years, If anybody wants a boy, I got one. I do. We can rent them,
Right.
we can do a lease to purchase option.
Right.
There's all kinds of different, we can figure it all out.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Boys, I love you. I would never sell you unless the money was right. They don't really do a lot of chores,
No.
but that's on me. I can't blame them.
Give them more.
Yeah, I got to figure that out. So, your podcast, it's called Relentless Pursuit as well.
Yes, sir.
Where can we find your podcast?
So it's on all platforms. My main platform is YouTube. I've had the most growth there. So just search the Relentless Pursuit podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and then all the audio platforms as well. But YouTube's the one I'm, working towards the most. And we recorded your episode, and that'll be episode 97. So I'm almost at that 100 mark.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've edited, I think the last 15 episodes I produced myself, so I had to learn that in a pinch, and that's been a pretty cool little journey. It's a lot of work. Trent knows. There's been a learning curve, but every week I get better and smoother with the process, and I've actually, I really enjoyed it. So
that's awesome. What's your show about?
Basically just gathering individuals from all different paths, all different journeys to come share their stories. So we had you on there. I've had world traveling authors. I've had this girl fly in from Vegas on her own dime just to share about her husband's OD. I've had special operations come in from out of state. I've had people travel from all over, bodybuilders, fighters, chefs. I had Alex Ballou on there.
Yep.
Just a little bit of everyone. The other day. He slimmed down, just some of that pudgy weighted dude is absolutely. He is a unit right now.
Yeah,
he looks fantastic.
Heck yeah.
He was on the treadmill in front of me. I was like, golly,
getting after it. Yeah,
woo, man. So,
what you doing over there,
I
Alex?
gave him the kudos. I told him, I was like, hey, man, you're doing good right now. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, anyway. So
yeah, but we've had he was really solid. I forget what episode that was. That was a while ago. But I've had a couple guests come on multiple times, but really just a little bit of everything. Everybody's story is different, but we can all relate in some aspect, right? We can all find some common ground with another individual, and I think I've really fallen in love with that because I could just, I've gotten to hear almost 100 stories from very unique people from extremely different backgrounds than me, and just to see them progress through their life and overcome so many different things. And we really harp in on the mental health aspect. And, men don't talk about that a lot, but I've had a lot of men come on and just open up and be very vulnerable and share what they're going through. And I think that has a big impact. And, and that's what it's all about is impact.
Very much so, man. Very much so. I love it. Now, you were in the military too, correct?
Yep.
What branch were you in?
Air Force.
What'd you do in the Air Force?
This is F-22 weapons.
Okay.
So I loaded weapons, munitions, and worked on all the weapon systems on F-22s, yeah.
Okay.
Did that for 6 years from 2009 to the very end of 2015.
Shoot the big guns on the big planes.
Yep, pretty much. Well, I worked on them. I didn't get to do any of the shooting. The pilots, they just took off, and they looked just as cool when they came down. They're like, oh, so nice up there. And I'm like, I bet. So,
what made you want to join the military?
Oh, man. So, I had a great upbringing. My parents are awesome. They're a couple of my best friends. They're still together. They've been together, I'd say around 30 years. And they got a beautiful relationship and raised me right. But I've always been, defied what I've been told. They're like, do this. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I like to rebel against things by nature.
there's a harder way. I'm gonna go figure that out.
Right? But the lessons are. That's how I've always been with everything. But there's been a lot of issues there, but I've learned a lot of valuable lessons along the way. So I'm, something to it as well. But so grew up, typical football player, high school jock, everything like that. Friends with everybody, got along. It was always kind to people. Moved around quite a bit, so I grew up in Georgia, North Carolina, those areas. Just stayed around the South, and I was never really a good student. I was like, I got to get C's. I can go to college one day and play football. That was the goal. And my dad was my dad went to this school called the Citadel. It was military college, and so I was like a legacy there. So I got in. I was like, I hate it here. Not knocking it. It's a great school, but at that time in my life, I just, I was really, and I did this for a lot of my life actually, up until several years ago. And what's smart? What should I do? What do you think I should do? What's a good path to take? And I wanted to like make others happy rather than just like following my destiny, right? Like a lot of people do. And I went, hated it, left. Went to a school called Gardner Webb in North Carolina. Boom. 2 weeks in, I'm hanging with the local dealer, smoking. And then that just evolved into me like popping pills every day. So I got into a pretty bad Xanax addiction, and I think a lot of that was me just not knowing where I wanted to go with my life and the pressure to feel like I had to figure it out, even though my parents weren't really pushing too hard. They just wanted me to do well, and I don't knock them by any means. I mean, I accept the fact that like I make my own choices, and I got to live with that. So got addicted to pills. I mean, to the point I was scrounging for change, doing what I could to get him. And then, one day I looked in the mirror. I told the story a million times. One day I was in the dorms. I went to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I was just like sloppy as hell, just hollow. And I was like, I hate you. And I left that person there, and that to me, a lot of people talk about self-hate, like that's a negative thing. And I was like, but I hated someone else. I hated someone that wasn't me. And I loved myself enough to walk away from that. And I called my best friend at the time. And I was like, hey, dude, because he was kind of in the same boat. I was like, I'm going to go to a recruiter. Like, I'm going to the military. He was like, I'm joining you. So we went to an Air Force recruiter. We asked around a little bit. And
did it literally just take the phone call and he's like, let's go?
Yeah. Yep.
Like he didn't sit on it for like 2 or 3 weeks and kind of weigh the options. He's just like,
it was immediate.
Talk about a fly by the seat of your pants. Like, yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Yeah.
Like that's,
So, that's what me and Cooper did.
No.
Yeah. So me and my brother.
Yeah.
We both worked at Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe here in Murfreesboro. It's no longer there. It's now something else. And we were both cooks. We got done. We closed down the kitchen one night. My dad was out of town. And he was like, what do you want to do? I was like, let's just go back to the house and chill. So he came over to my house and we just were sitting on the couch and we both looked at each other and we were talking, just bullshitting. And he said, you ever thought about joining the military? And I was like, yeah. He was like, let's go to the recruiter in the morning. Okay.
It's crazy how that
so
happens.
we got up the next morning and went
wild.
because we didn't have a plan, right? You didn't have a plan. We didn't know where we were, what we were doing, right?
I mean, that's
I went to Atlanta to go to college and play golf, and that didn't go. Same thing. Like I went down a dark path, right, and wasn't really going the way I needed to, and was broke, didn't have any money. I'm living with my dad. I'm 19 years old and think I know everything there is to know, right?
I mean,
I'm a man. And didn't know shit from Shinola, but so what are you gonna do?
Exactly. I mean,
There's just no plan. There's no.
look, I respect it. I'm not.
So let's go.
I have that conversation. I'm a teacher. I don't know if.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I get these conversations with guys sometimes. Kids coming up like, you think this is a good idea? And my thought is, if you're thinking about if it's a good idea, it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not putting you down, but like, if you're having to convince yourself to do it, pause there. But just to like, let's go. All right.
Look, it's one of those things. It's one of the things that I admire about anybody that's ever served in any branch, because they have a nerve, a vein, a strand in their makeup that it's not about them, right? It has nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Let's go serve a higher cause, right? A higher purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a lot of what you do in your brand and what I'm trying to do in my brand of how can we go make the biggest impact in the world.
Yeah.
Right. I had a call today, and one of the things that I was talking about on this call was just simply that is, I don't think we ever dream big enough. And
raise your hand.
You never raise your hand high enough, right?
Yeah.
And me, myself included, like, one of the things they asked on the call today was, what are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on to achieve what you want to
Better
achieve?
circumstances.
Fuck that.
No, that's what everybody's
Right, but
response
that's-
is. I'll wait
right.
till Monday.
Yeah.
Monday, everything will.
Right, but that's the thing. What are you waiting on? Why? So, you need more money? Well, then go find the money.
Right.
There's money out there. Go find it.
Yeah.
Right? Whether you got to work for it, whether you got to find an investor, whether you got to get a loan, whatever it may be. So we're all trying to do that same thing and try to make the biggest impact. And I think, I had parents and grandparents that did that. So how do I do that?
Yeah.
And for me, it was just always, it was never about me. I didn't care if I went to war, I went to war. I mean, it is what it is, right? That's what we do. You're in the military.
Yeah.
You're going to go, shoot at something, whether you're the one pulling the trigger or not. That's the whole goal, is to go protect and serve our country.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the biggest things that I admire, to circle all the way back around to you, is anybody that can wake up in the morning and go, what do you need? Let's make it better.
Yeah.
It's just really, really cool.
Yeah.
And you just don't see that outside of the military on a regular occasion, right? There's just not that many folks that just wake up in the morning and go, all right, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm too old and fat and way out of shape to be able to go do it again. But if there was a war that broke out today, which don't wait too long.
Yeah.
Right. And I was physically able to. My wife will kill me for saying this, but I'd put a uniform on and strap the boots on and put a ruck on and let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
So many military guys talk about that though. Like I literally saw an interview with a gentleman. He's in his, excuse me, mid-70s, and he was a Vietnam War vet. And he said, if my country needed me today, they could call me right now, and I don't know what my role would be. I'd be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And like that. And so I think a lot of military guys, just like you said, it's in that vein. There's something that is threaded
Yeah.
in. So even if you do go call a buddy up that day and say, hey, let's go do this, you still got something in there that allows you to take that step or that thread of just saying,
But you
let's
hit
go.
the nail on the head. It ain't for everybody.
No, heck
No,
no,
it's not.
No.
It's not. And it's one of the hardest things outside of starting my own business.
Yeah. You got to want to do it.
If you can't make that call and go, hey man, whose car are we taking?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you can't make that call, if that other person goes, I'll call you back. Then they're probably not a good fit, because they're and look, I've been out for 20 years, so it's different today than it was back then. But it's when a drill sergeant asks you to jump or tells you to jump, you're asking how high on the way up, right?
You're not thinking about it.
Because if you do anything other than that, you're in the wrong.
You're screwed. Yeah.
It's a bad day.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Air Force, 6 years, called a buddy. Hey, let's go.
Yep. And I was going to say real quick, because I got this, I was thinking about this, like if I was called to go, which I've had so many surgeries, they'd be like, no, you're not allowed, but I mean, I go harder than I ever have. But, I always think about that too, though. And I'm like, man, things are already kind of crazy within our country. Like, I'm like, dude, what if they were to draft everybody and ship them off? And then that's when someone comes here and like, at the end of the day, first and foremost is my family. Like, that's the number one priority, is my daughter and my wife. And I think about that. Like, I'm not saying they're defenseless without me, but in essence, they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of a crazy
Well, you
thing
are the
to think
first
about.
defense.
Yeah, like,
they're defenseless,
you
but-
got like the cartel comes in, we're all gone. Like,
Yeah.
that's just something crazy to think about. And it's something I've,
Well, you want to hear a crazy, hypothetical apocalypse theory that I've heard recently that I thought was kind of crazy to think about. Was we're in an election year. The last election we had some fireworks. We'll just call them
Just a few.
I think that's fair. That's
couple
a good,
poppers.
Yeah, we'll just call
little
them
poppers, the little snaps she's on the ground. Snap. No,
we'll just call them some fireworks. So whatever the outcome of this election is whatever the outcome is. And I don't care who you vote for, who you don't vote for. It doesn't make a difference to me. But where the country as a whole is on an edge, right? I mean, you can't talk politics without offending somebody today.
Man, ain't that true?
Right. I think all four of us have had conversations about politics but it's very few and far between that you can have a disagreement about a political issue and somebody not take offense to it.
Yeah.
Right. And never talk to you again or never want to see you again or whatever. Or just flat out fight you. Right.
No, I'll die for this
Yeah.
president.
So, but what happens if we went back into another civil war? Where do you go? What do you do? Are we that far away from it?
I'd like to think we're that far away from that.
I would.
Uh,
But we also live in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back 4 years ago, look at Seattle.
Right.
Go back a couple of weeks ago and look at some of the college campuses that were invaded and set up camps
Acting
and
the fool.
people acting
those
crazy,
things, yeah.
right? So I mean, my soul wants to say, yeah, we're not there. That would never happen. And I personally disagreed and told them like, that's not gonna I'm more worried about Russia and China and Little Rocket Man than I am anything else, right? Oh wait, we can't say that, can we?
Censor China.
Yeah.
Oh, I said
Yeah.
it's gonna be our first YouTube censor. We're gonna get kicked off. This video's been
Yes.
removed. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it
all
only
about
took us
that.
14 episodes. We're in. Like, that's just
Join the club.
We did something right.
You're gonna get a letter.
Yeah. Cease and assist. Yeah. But I mean, if you think about how close and how bad we've had sometimes, like it's really not that far fetched to think that it could go that far off the cliff.
Yeah, I will say, something I've talked about people, but to that, because a lot of people are like waiting for the impending doom to happen, right? And one thing I always say, but at the end of the day, nobody really speaks out about the fact that things could shift in a positive way too. You know, nobody really like.
Well, I mean, that pendulum
manifests
swings.
that. Like,
Yeah.
Things could get better tomorrow.
Right.
All of a sudden, you never know what could happen, but we don't really even consider those options because things just get bad. And everybody's like, it's bad, and they just keep pushing that without even looking at the other side. Like things could flip too.
Yeah.
That's so fair because the pendulum, like it's got to balance, right?
Yeah.
And it gets way over here. Well, it's got to come back, and so, but you're right. So many people think about the negativity or the impending negative impact or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a second, like just do what you know to do right.
Exactly.
And move forward in that. I mean, that makes a huge difference. So
Y'all watch Lord of the Rings, y'all Lord of the Rings fans. So when they're in Helm's Deep and you got all the orcs and they're just busting down the walls and they're overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
Well, then it's like, dude, we're dying today, but we're gonna keep fighting. And then who they see up on the hill with the light and their staff? Gandalf, and they just come rushing down.
Right.
And then it's like,
is that the scene where he's with the Riders Rohan?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's always something that plays in my head when the world's crazy. I always look at those stories as they're so applicable to our lives, and it's just staying the righteous path. And no matter how dark it gets, you're going to see that light come over the hill and, take over.
For every hill, there's a valley, and for every valley, there's a hill.
Yep.
Yep. All right, so
I'm getting stoked.
yeah.
Joe's got me ready to go. I done a workout today, but I'm ready to go. Baby. Like,
Hey, Lord of the Rings is life. Okay, guys.
to go rewatch it.
oh, Joe, you have no idea.
I'm going home to watch it.
Look, my mom always starts it right between Christmas and New Year's. She will watch all of them, the extended cuts.
Yes.
And I'm like, Mom, like I can't watch a television. I would love to know how many times she's watched them. Not to mention the fact that she's read them too. Yeah, so like
same.
it's not that she doesn't know them, but it pulls her in. And I've sat there just like, oh gosh, like I love the movies. Don't get me wrong, but it's like we did this 3 years ago and last year, and it's like so.
Yeah.
It's okay. My wife deals with it.
All right, yeah, there you go.
Go for it.
Mine is my wife says that my favorite movie of all time is Avatar.
Really?
There's a
So,
lot of truth, man.
Here's why. My oldest son was 3 years old when that movie came out. I bought an 83-inch DLP TV. So it was one of those projecting screen TVs, not like the flat screens we have today. I was super proud of this TV because it was huge. Right, it's 83 inches. It's massive. Who has an 83-inch TV in their living room?
Sticking off the wall like 4 or 5 feet.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it was huge.
Looks like the front end of 18-wheelers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think about it now, and I'm like, oh, it took up half my living room. What is this? And look, the TV was so big that when me and my wife moved to Alabama in our new house, it wouldn't fit through the front door. Like I took a tape measure when we were looking to lease this place and measured if it would fit, and it wouldn't fit. It wouldn't go in the house.
How'd you like that? Honey, we can't move here. Why not? TV doesn't fit. Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's got the backyard. It's got the pool. It's got all this that we need to put TV, babe.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's what that's.
You can't play that card.
didn't win.
Come on. No, you didn't.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't win. So he's 3-4 years old, and one of our things when he was a kid was we would go back when they had DVDs. There was a DVD store here in town, and on Wednesdays they would run a special, and you could get $5 DVDs. So we would go and we'd get 2 or 3 DVDs, and I'd have him for a couple of days, and we'd watch those DVDs. So we went one time and I splurged, and I got like 5 DVDs, and one of them was Avatar. A 4-year-old watching that movie with all the colors and the 3 years old, however old he was, he was just like in a trance.
Yeah.
Well, Caden, I love him, but when he was young, he would get into anything. I caught him on top of my refrigerator in the cookie jar one time.
nice.
Literally on top of the refrigerator. He pulled a chair out, climbed up on the counter, and then climbed up on top of the fridge and was sitting there Indian style with the cookie jar in his lap, eating cookies.
Yes.
And I walk into the kitchen and I'm like, what are you doing?
That boy was determined. He
I
was,
support it.
He got him a cookie.
yeah, he got more than one.
But we watched that movie on repeat. I mean, it was just, I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen that damn movie. So me and my wife got together when he was turning 4. And then when we moved to Alabama, I had the DVD. I went and got him, put it in there. He would watch the movie and he would chill out for a couple hours. So we watched it every time that he would come down. So it's not allowed to be on the TV in my house anymore.
Gets him crazy.
It's crazy. Well, he's 18 now, so he I don't think he cares. But my wife does not want me to see that movie.
I
At all.
guarantee you he does. And here's what I'll say. My son was that way about the movie Cars.
Yeah.
So he was 3 or 4. It was his first movie he ever goes and sees.
Yeah.
And my mom took him. And there's literally like 12 minutes left. They're at the end of the movie. Like it's all getting ready to tie up, right? He stands up like, all right, let's go. And my mom's like, what? He's like, I'm done. Let's go. He walks out the movie theater. So mom's got to go get him. Fast forward 10, 11, 12 years. He becomes a teenager, and we're talking one day. He's like, love it. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I watch that movie all the time. He is now 20, and he will still, if Cars is on, boy,
He's watching it.
And so
love it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It wouldn't surprise me if he's
Yeah.
secretly doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
not, seriously. I mean, or it'll be a nostalgic point for him. I
Yeah.
mean, because
Yeah.
ooh, you know,
It's a good one.
So,
Yeah.
I approve
there's a
that.
lot worse out there too.
Yeah.
So
There is.
I mean,
It's a whole bunch of blue people on an alien planet.
Right.
weird hair.
Yeah.
My daughter got from the hospital. We brought her back. I sat on the recliner. I was like, all right, baby girl, you about to learn the lore. Put on Fellowship of the Ring. And I'm like, yeah. She didn't know what's going on. I'm like, the sounds, though. She's understanding.
She's learning all the things.
Shows over there. That's Frodo.
Oh, yeah.
Give the
It's funny
background.
too. I bought her this stuff like hand knitted from Etsy. This Gandalf. So whenever she's like, we're on a road trip, I'm like, you got to take Gandalf on your journey with you. So I just like set it on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
So,
That's
That's
Gandalf the
outstanding.
Great,
Go ahead.
honey. He'll come
I
back
love
as
it.
Gandalf the
I
White
love
and
it.
save everybody.
Yeah.
We're good. So
I gotcha.
So we fast forward to 2014, 15, getting out of the Air Force. Now what?
And so got out of the Air Force, end of 2000, October 2015, November 2015,
Okay.
and moved up this way. Didn't really know what I was going to do, except for start school that following semester at MTSU. And so I moved in with my parents. They're just like, figure out what you're going to do, like you're going to stay here for a while. And so moved up, worked a couple different jobs, did this like touring stuff, did some construction work. And then started school at MTSU, started as a student, and which I worked through there and got my degree in 2020, and I'm back in school, but because I want to be, right? But yeah, so started school, I'm trying to think. So 2016, moving in through there. Yeah, I got a girlfriend. I started dating this chick pretty quick. Fast forward like 9 months, I'm doing school, dating her, and called it off. And then like a month after that, my buddy hit me up. He was like, hey, you want to go to Southeast Asia? And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm in school. I'm on a good path. I was like, let me think about it. And like days later, I was like, all right, we're going to Southeast Asia. So basically New Year's Eve, we flew to Hong Kong and went to Hong Kong for a few days and then traveled down to Vietnam, spent a couple weeks there, went to Cambodia, spent a little time there, went down to Thailand, spent a good month in Thailand, went to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Singapore, and then spent a month in Bali. And yeah, spent like a 4-month stint in Southeast Asia just with a backpack, staying in hostels, just seeing the world. Luckily, I was getting my disability by then. So, that 60% goes a long way in Southeast Asia. You know what I'm saying? So I was living well and had everything I needed, and I was just experiencing the world. I was like, I can get back to school. I just want to go see things and just get a different viewpoint. Yeah, and it was just probably the most freeing time I've ever had because it was so laid back. It was like, we'd wake up one day and be like, hey, you want to stay in this hostel or go to like this next island or whatever? Or you want to catch a ferry? It was just
that's the kind of decision you make on the fly. Do you want to go or stay here? Not, I want to join the Air Force today.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's true.
Shows out there flipping a coin for life decisions. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, man. And it was an amazing time. I can go into so many stories about that, but it was a crazy experience. Did a lot of partying, but saw a lot of cool stuff. Just taking in the culture and, being around, when you're backpacking through too, you're just around the people a lot.
Yeah.
And one thing that stuck out to me, and it comes back to, living in America, like people take for granted how easy it is, man. It's so easy here and you go out there and it's third world conditions, most of those places, and they're just happy as can be. They got everything they need, and we got more than they'll ever have, yet we're complaining about it.
Right.
That's
something I've been contemplating on here the past week or two. Just have we got such an abundance that we forget how to be gracious in it?
Oh, without a doubt.
And because we don't understand what it's like to either do without or have to not expect it. Like we think, oh, you wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to the gas station, I'm going to do this. We'll stop off at the restaurant for a quick breakfast, whatever.
Yeah.
And then where you didn't have to get up and go hunt your food that morning.
Yeah.
Or it was just in the fridge or whatever. And we forget how to be gracious because of the abundance.
Without a doubt.
And that's, you see these smaller countries and these, third world countries, second world countries thing. And they all know that graciousness because of what they have for the day.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, that's awesome. So.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I mean, those thoughts are 100% accurate. We just got way too much abundance. I mean, there, I had some ice out of a cup from a drink. I like to eat the ice when I have a drink, and it's from their water. I didn't think about that. I was sick as hell for days following that. I was like, I couldn't go see things for like 3 or 4 days. I was like, dude, I don't got travel insurance. Let's just tough this out. Finally, whatever cleared my system. But I was like, dang, you can only drink bottled water out there. And like the toilets, you got to be careful what you put in. You got to put everything in the trash can. And, it's so easy here. Most places don't have air conditioning unless you stay in a hostel that's built by foreigners. And, that's $7 a night. You have your bed. It's still really nice and upkept, but then where the people actually live, it's not that. So it's wild to see.
Or even the simplicity. My brother lived in Japan for a number of years, and every time they'd come back stateside, the first thing they would do is hit up the produce section at the grocery store. Because in Japan, what farmland they do have, they have to dedicate to feeding lots of people. So it's a lot of rice, staples and stuff. They don't have a lot of fruit.
Interesting. I
So
didn't know that.
my brother would walk over here. They get in the produce. Like my nephews can pop grapes like no other. Because when they hadn't had them for a year, they show up at grandma's house and there's a bag of grapes. I mean, it's
going nuts.
Yeah, and it's just those little things that that So yeah, AC is, we think everybody's got it, and
No.
we are very much the exception.
I love my AC.
So,
Ice.
Yeah, ice. Edible ice.
Yeah, edible
That
ice.
gives a whole new term to that good ice for Sonic, doesn't it? Like, jeez.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So, you used to ride motorcycles a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did you stop riding motorcycles?
So I got my bike actually when I was deployed to Al-Udeid, really rough base out there, Qatar. I bought a Harley while I was out there and had that for years, and did a lot of riding, and it was a badass bike too. It had 17-inch apes on it. It was like matte black all the way out. Had these pipes that went down and they were upswept and stuck out, and it's like 30-inch sissy bar in the bag. Just looked old school, and I just love that style, But I wanted something I didn't have to turn wrenches on all the time. But so I got that bike and got back from Asia, got into the MC scene a little bit for a little while, and I realized quickly that just wasn't the lifestyle I wanted. Not knocking it, just wasn't for me. And moving forward, I was in a relationship, was in that for a while. And then 2018, I was in school, and I was down here. I lived in Hermitage at the time, and I left that morning. It was like 40-something degrees out. And, 40-something degrees on the interstate on a bike's pretty cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is a bad idea, And this, from Hermitage to MTSU for an 8 a.m. class is almost an hour ride.
Yeah.
But made it to class, and then I had a sports psychology class with Dr. Gerald Christian, which he's been on my podcast for a few episodes. And we came to the conclusion that it's his fault that I got my accident, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, because he let us out of class early that day.
Oh, damn. That's it.
So
All right.
we've decided that he accepts it, and we're good. But so I left class that day. It was Thursday. It was October 18th, 2018, and got out of class. It was nice. It warmed up, So I'm just cruising around town. Got some friends flying into town that evening, and I'm over there on Cason Lane, and y'all know where Cason Academy is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going through that light, and just coming up on the light. It's green. I'm actually going the speed limit for once, and cruising through, and I look over and I see this car, and I'm just like, and that's the first thought that went through my head. And then everything shut off. And so what happened was, it was like a little silver Nissan Sentra. And we hit corner to corner. I fishtailed into the side of the car. So my leg got pinned in between the car and my bike. Well, then I flew into the windshield, and then I got launched like 90 feet through the air into a field. And that was exactly what they measured.
Gosh.
And so, and I've got videos of them, like the dash cams of them pulling up, and you just see like where the accident happened. And then they're like, the car turns, and then you see like a body laying out there. It's like wild. And, long story short, my brain shut off like right before impact, and I flew through the air, and landed on my back, and I come to. I look down, I see my left femur sticking out of my leg, and I just laid my head down. I was like, damn it, man, this isn't good. And this cop comes up. He's like, hey, man, you've been in a bad accident. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Of course. Yep. So, I'm laying there, and Officer Larry Maples, props, shout out to him, because he knew what he was doing. So he's a Marine, and he was the SRO officer there. So he overheard the accident happening. He was out getting something out of his car, and he heard it happen. Gosh. So he just ran over without a radio or anything. And he recognized my chest was soft, so he called a life flight. And, some people, I'm not saying people aren't competent, but some people just may not recognize those signs. They may not check that, and just could have called an ambulance. So he recognized that, called a life flight. I'm laying there. There's a lot going on. He's asking me questions. I'm like, man, I don't know anything right now. I'm just smoked. And it was weird because I didn't feel an ounce of pain. Like, it was just...
Your adrenaline's just pumping.
Yeah. And I was just like, man, this isn't good. And but it almost didn't feel real. And so life flight shows up. They started loading me on the stretcher, and I'm like, hey, am I going to die or something like that? They're like, sir, we're going to try to keep that from happening. And that's when I just felt like, when something really off-putting happens in your life, and you get that chill that just kind of starts here and just works its way all the way down. I felt that sensation, and that's when it felt real. I was like, damn, okay. It loaded me up on the helicopter, and I was like, dude, like, Joe, don't go. I started thinking of like my family and stuff like that, you know, just life, just people in my life, and reflecting on that, and I was just spinning through my head, and I would just close my eyes. I was like, you got this, you got this. And next thing you know, I had this little vision of this fire just bursting, and it was a very spiritual thing. And next thing you know, I woke up in Vanderbilt ICU, and surgeons came in, and they were like, you should be dead, every one of them. And then I learned like what my injuries were. So I had a TBI, I had an aortic aneurysm that was bleeding in my right collapsed lung, so that was a chest softness. I lacerated 6 organs, like my liver, kidney, spleen, adrenal gland, a few others. Broke a few ribs, broke my hip in 3 places, left femur came out, broke my right knee, tibia, fibula, both ankles, both feet, all my toes. And then I got stabbed like in the groin by something. I don't know, lost like 3 pints of blood out of that. So, and that's like when my life changed forever right there. That was a very pivotal moment for me.
Man. So yeah, that's tough. That's one of those things that most people don't.
I'm just sitting there thinking the impact to break all your toes. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that just, dude, man.
I think so. My boots flew off, so I wore these Doc Martens, and I kind of left them untied. You know, I didn't think I was gonna go flying, and I think they flew off. Dummy, left them untied, and like when I landed, I probably 90 feet's quite the flight.
Yeah.
So I think I got a record around town. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a record.
Yeah.
And so
record you didn't want.
It's cool now.
Look, I know some people on the crash team. I can ask.
Okay. Hey. Yeah.
We'll find out.
They may remember. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty serious, and but yeah, I think I probably landed on my feet or something like that, but it was pretty nuts.
How long were you at Vandy?
I was in Vandy just for like a couple weeks before they put me in rehab in Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
So they sent me to, there's right next to, what is it, St. Thomas, right here, middle of town. Yeah, so there's a rehab center right across the street from there.
Okay.
And I was there for a little bit as well. There for a couple weeks, and I progressed pretty quick, and but then I was in bed for a couple months. So
I imagine you had to heal before you could even try to start walking again.
Yeah, so the main thing was, my ankles and feet. I couldn't bear any weight. Yep. So I was at my parents' house. They gave, because I could access their shower and stuff. They actually moved upstairs at their house. And, like, it was really cool. A lot of people cared. That's one thing I circle back around to a lot. And that's why, like, I'm so committed to making an impact and making a difference for others, because I had a lot of people support me. Like, I was sharing my story, and, I remember, I think some people put stuff together, raised like 40 grand for me in like a week or two, and I was just like blown away. I was like, that many people care. And it gets me emotional thinking about it, honestly. And
it's amazing.
I had friends show, like my barber came into the house and he'd cut me, just to cancel his appointments. I had buddies that were contractors. They removed the doors and stuff from my parents' shower just so I can get in the shower and access that. And it was just crazy stuff. And, I talk about this a lot because a lot of, I was telling you last time, like you asked me if I still ride, I think.
Yeah.
And I was circle back to the call my mom, my sister, and my dad got, right? Like, my mom's just by herself and she gets a call that I'm life flighted. That's all she knows. And all I got to do is put myself. Sorry.
You're good, man. You amongst friends?
I just got to put myself in the passenger seat of her car, And then even my sister, my dad was in Oklahoma for a business trip, and people wouldn't even give their seat up so he can get a flight back, and I'm like, dude, like the lack of compassion there. But, they're all in this panic, and I'm like, dude, that's why I never got a bike again, because I just thought it's like, I'm all about doing what makes you happy, but I wouldn't want to put them through that again. So They've done nothing but love me. But yeah, that's something I always go back to because I'm just extremely grateful because, shoot, I had one of them in the hospital or in rehab with me every single night. You know, they were wiping my ass for me, you know, stuff that like I didn't even ever think I'd have to have someone else do as a grown man.
Yeah.
You know, they were just constantly doing whatever they could to like just show me love, you know, and like, yeah, so the no-brainer with the bike thing. But
Right.
yeah, for
So
them.
I saw your tattoo as soon as I walked in. Cheat death.
Cheat death.
Man, like you did it.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm assuming that was post.
Yeah, that was
But,
post.
yeah,
Yeah, I got like
but
the whole, you can see
gosh.
the hole right there where the bone came out. But yeah, I got the cheat death tattoo on my leg.
Jeez, that's
Symbolic,
awesome, dude.
yeah.
I mean,
Crazy.
It's a wild concept, but it's just man, it's impressive to hear. Like to sit here with you and hear it. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you know, it's something. You know, it's part of my business, right? That's like why I started my business. So it's something that's like probably crosses my mind every single day, but I never look at it like, oh my gosh, like it doesn't bother me. I'm like very grateful for that experience. Like I said, I go back to the people that showed me love and support and the amount of gratitude I have for that. And I have no choice but to like give back to the world and make an impact. Like that's what I'm meant to do. I mean, I think in some capacity, I think all humans are meant to give back, you know, but, yeah, so that's what I'm dedicated to, you know, and just, I think the entire experience, just going through that, the amount of lessons and the amount of fire that came from that, like I wouldn't trade it for anything. If I could go back to that moment and change it, I wouldn't.
So we in our notes we put in the differences between motivation and discipline. So in hearing your story and in that part of your journey,
Yeah.
do you think it was more motivation to just get back on your feet and get going, or was it a discipline of, hey, like conscious decision, hey, I have to do this every single day so I can get back, so I can give back to the people that have helped me for so long?
I think I talk about this a lot because this concept of like motivation, I don't think motivation is necessarily a negative thing unless you constantly need motivation to do stuff, right? Like I don't have to listen to a motivational speech to go work out every day or do X, Y, and Z. You know, discipline's what you need in order to stay consistent, right? But a lot of people are like, man, I just need motivation. I just need motivation. Like if you listen to one motivational speech and it gets you started, then keep doing it. Be disciplined enough to keep going. You don't need to have like a motivational thing every time. And that's hard for people to grasp, but you know, and not knocking anybody. I just think discipline's what it takes to stay consistent.
Anybody can be motivated about something for a day.
Well, even if, 100%. Because if you look, I mean, you can put the right song on, and I'll get jazzed out of my mind.
Yeah.
For 30 minutes.
Yeah, motivation.
And as soon as that little rush wears off, I'm like, it's still a Tuesday, you know, or whatever. Just, I mean,
to me, motivation is like a 16-year-old on payday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like they rich as hell. For Friday, Saturday,
At the time you needed to be,
and half of Sunday, they got money.
right?
And then they ain't got no more money.
Right.
You know, I think for me, I'd choose the word inspired. Like I was inspired by the love that was shown, and I was so grateful for that. And I was inspired by the fact that like I'm able to move on and have a normal life when so many people don't get that opportunity. I mean, hell, you take one of my injuries, like the aortic aneurysm, that's like a 50% chance of dying pretty much, you know? And then here I am from head to toe. And I reflect on that a lot, you know, and that's partially why I'm so hard on myself. And I had to learn how to back off. Cause I'm like, if I sell short any day, I'm like, well, other people didn't get this opportunity. Like, you know, that kind of survivor's guilt mindset. Right. And I got to reel back from that because I do the best I can. And some days you're just going to be beat, you know, but, I think, I was just inspired by a multitude of different things. And from that, it was discipline from then on.
I love it. I love it a lot. I think discipline is one of those things that people overlook. As in, you know, they think they look at a guy like yourself that's in pretty good shape and, oh man, that guy's motivated. You know what I'm saying? But I know without even asking you that you wake up in mornings and go, fuck man, I don't want to work out today.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. There's days that you have it. You're human. We all have those days where you wake up and you're just like, shit. I just want to sit here for a minute. but you can't.
Yeah.
Because you got things you got to go do. You got to have the discipline to get up and go do it, right? And if you don't, the world's going to pass you by.
Yeah, some
right?
people
those opportunities aren't going to be there.
It's a fact, man. Some people just sit back and they're like, man, I just don't feel motivated. I'm just not going to do it. And it's like, dude.
I literally I read a thing this week from Jocko Willing. He's like, that snooze button is awful. And for that reason, because that temptation is so satisfying once you give into it. Like, oh, it's just 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I hit it twice and I'm 18 minutes, but I can make that up later. And then you're just pushing everything to either you're stacking on yourself or you're not going to finish what you need to finish.
Yep.
And so you just.
What was it? Pitbull said one time in an interview or a panel that he did that, you know, somebody said, man, you're so lucky. And he said, well, it's funny that the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah.
I've always gone back to
that's a good point.
To Tyson's we good? All right. But Mike Tyson's definition of discipline is doing the thing you don't want to do like you love it.
Yeah.
And it's just that constant just keep going. And it's hard to do. I mean, I have, like, me and you kind of know about where I've shared with you some about my weight loss stuff and getting it back in the gym and stuff. And, like, there's just those days when I don't want to. And today for me was one of those days. Like, my ankle was just killing, but I still got the treadmill part done. It was slow, but it got done. And, like, you just keep that movement going that little bit. And it's just, I mean,
just implementing things that force it too. You know, one thing I did want to say is, like, with the snooze alarm thing, like, I have the alarm that goes off, like the little hatch, and if I do happen to hit snooze, I know for a fact my phone is on the other side of the room, and it's going to go off 5 minutes later and force me to get up out of bed.
Right.
And if I don't hear, my wife's going to be like, turn your damn alarm off. So, then I'm up, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to lay back down. That kind of screws things up. So it's just doing little things like that. It's simple. But there was something I was adding on to that. It goes back to, the burpee thing I told you I do. I do, like, since September, I've done almost 40,000 burpees.
oh, man.
I'll do, like, before I work out, I'll do a minimum of 200 burpees.
Dude, you got to see it. He'll post it. The dude's he's a fucking machine.
Before the workout?
Yeah.
Before his workout.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, it sucks, right? Like, I started doing them in September, and I was working out one day. I was like, I'm gonna throw in some burpees, like, people hate burpees. I'm gonna do them. And then I was like, man, nobody likes to do burpees, but I'm just gonna keep doing these things. And I was like, well, why don't I just add it up and just see what number I hit years down the road, and I'm just going to keep doing burpees. And then I see that number grow and I get fired up by it. Like, initially I was like, screw this, but then I won't do my training without burpees now.
That's
it's you talk about motivation. So we talked about it last week or week before when I was on your show about you doing the burpees. And then I started paying attention and quite honestly, I feel a little weird by this. So just bear with me. I look forward to seeing that post of you doing just constant burpees.
It's not for my OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding.
Only if you sign up for mine.
Okay, deal.
But mine's only feet. So.
Yes. Wow. Favorite thing.
Yeah.
I had to take it there.
Yeah. And it's just my right foot. It's not even my left foot.
Hell yeah.
The one that I've had 5 surgeries on. So it's it's like blood and crippin', you know what I'm saying? It's got you.
Oh yes.
Oh, that good timing.
Yeah.
Man. Thank you. That was good. But like, it's got me wanting to do burpees every day. I hate burpees. I mean, you're like the only person I know in my life that has ever said that they like doing burpees.
But it took a minute. I forced myself to like it, right? And that's I think that applies to anybody. Like, like you talked about with the Mike Tyson quote, like, do something you don't like you love it, or something like that. Like, that's the thing, is you can do something consistently enough to where you can retrain your body to actually
enjoy it. Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
well, that's like me with running.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love running.
Exactly.
I absolutely love it. People think I'm crazy, but I absolutely love to go run, because it's almost, you get to a point to where, and I'm sure it's the same thing with the burpees, you get to a point to where it's not even the action anymore, or the physicality of the action. It's what your brain does, and where
it's when you can zone out of. I'm not running. I'm doing the other. Like you're just letting your mind go.
It's just going.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you can, and you start thinking about just crazy shit.
I'm still counting every step.
Yeah.
Like, oh, get to the mailbox. Oh, get that crack up there. Like, oh, golly. Like, I mean, I walk every morning now, but I'm at that point where there's some of those mornings when I'm like, oh gosh, all right, I got 7 minutes left. That means 3.5, and then I can turn around and go back. Right. I'm like, cause just that morning where I don't want to get out there.
Yeah.
But then yesterday or 2 days ago, I remember I was well rested, legs felt fresh, and I was like, oh. I actually had one of my neighbors. They were like, "You're getting it today." Not only was I getting, I got an extra lap in what I normally do in my time frame.
Nice. Yeah.
Today was complete opposite of that. Today, that was 4 long laps today. Let me tell you, like
it goes back to the same thing like we talked about. There's days you wake up and it's just not your day.
Gosh,
Yeah,
that's
it's a fact, man.
Sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
Yeah, truth,
You know,
truth.
It happens. All right, so every week we do a segment, and it's a this or that segment. We call it Mac or Beans. Okay, so because I own a barbecue restaurant, mac and cheese and baked beans are a staple.
Of course,
Every barbecue restaurant you go to in America, for the most part, I'm sure there's one or two that don't have them, but
somebody's
eats
recognized for their coleslaw. I guarantee you.
right? So to start the segment, are you a mac and cheese guy or a beans guy?
mac and cheese, 100%.
Mac and cheese, 100%. That was simple.
And then you
That was
balk
simple.
at it.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a tough
Damn.
choice. Yeah.
Damn. I wish I'd have known that. I brought some mac and cheese. So, Derry wrote down for us the next question of mac or beans. And are you a machine weights guy or a free weights guy?
Free weights, 100%.
Are you against machines?
No, so I mean, the only machine I have in my gym is a cable machine because there's just so many different variations of things you can do. But you know, some trainers are probably gonna hate me, but it's like, you know, a lot of people, you got a lot of trainers out there nowadays, right? And a lot of people can just take a test and get a certification. That's just the reality of it. And you know, I as a trainer, I'd notice a lot of discrepancies. And but the way I look at it is through that lens is like, well, anybody can show somebody how to use the machine. Like the machine shows you how to use the machine.
Yeah, there's the diagram right there on the side with the highlighted muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're paying, a lot of people pay money to someone else to show them how to use the machine that also has instructions. But it takes a real coach to teach somebody how to use a barbell efficiently. I mean, I go in and like, I do squats twice a week, right? I'm always looking at a way or to improve that, you know? And so I find the free weights and the barbell stuff to be extremely functional to just everyday life. Not against machines. I think they had their place, but I prefer, you know, free weights way more.
So can I give where my background was in this?
Yeah.
So I was in the gym this morning and I prefer like the dumbbells, like versus like a barbell, only because those little twitch muscles, you got to focus on the balance or the movement. And I love that. But for me, the discipline of making sure that I use a cable machine, especially, yes, there are various things you can get out of it. But and what comes to mind, I'm thinking is a lat pull down. But it helps me make sure that I've got my form right.
Oh yeah.
And then I can go over to the dumbbell or the barbell and like I can remember where that muscle pinch was or, you know, this rolled in. And I saw a video this week. It's funny you say it because you can learn it anywhere, right?
Yeah.
This dude was like, pinch your elbows in when you come down that lat pull down. And I did that today. I was like a whole nother
Little
part
cues.
of oh man. But so I find the machines are just, is my form right? Is my, you know, my motion right?
Well, like I said, I think they're great. I mean, like I said, I use that cable machine a lot, but that's the only machine I have technically. The thing about it is too, is I also have a studio gym. So I don't have a bunch of like machines. One, they're
space.
They're very expensive.
Yeah.
They take up a lot of space. I got all the dumbbells. I got a lot of barbell stuff. So for the space I have, that's what I got. And I prefer to train just like solo in my short shorts and sweat everywhere and play black metal, you know? And that's just, I'm in my zone. And, but so
Sounds like a good gym session. It's like,
Oh yeah.
Yep, it's
short
hot.
shorts and black metal, bring it on, baby.
Yes. But you know, but I've had to like, so it's forced me to also just be get extremely specific about the barbell and dumbbell stuff. So, and learn a lot more of those things as well. So yeah, that's the preference.
So if you were going to tell, obviously you're in pretty good shape. You train people, been doing it for a while. If you were going to give somebody 3 pieces of advice for starting their journey to become healthier, right? Not necessarily trying to go into bodybuilding competitions or any of that stuff, but
Yeah.
just trying to, your average person, what are the top 3 things, as somebody that knows what they're talking about, what are the top 3 things they need to do to start being a healthier individual?
Stay consistent. Consistency is the key with much like anything, like building a business or whatever. Like, you know, if you aren't consistent, your business is going to fail. Same thing with your health and even mental health, right? Like I like to apply consistency to everything, but getting in shape or like just improving your fitness, just keep moving forward. The second thing is that I talked about with Terry on my podcast recently is show yourself grace. So a lot of people, they're going for a month or 2 months, right? They haven't lost the weight. Well, consider other factors. Are you going to the gym multiple days a week? Were you ever doing that before you started? No. Have you been eating better? Were you ever doing that before you started? No. So the thing is like, be proud of those. Those are huge milestones. Just the fact that you're improved your diet, just the fact that you're going, that you got to show yourself grace, because most people in the country, I mean, even though fitness is bigger than it's ever been, it's still like, I think only like 20% of the population exercise or something. It's like a very low percentage. I think maybe even less than that. So when you consider those factors, like be proud of yourself, you know, like you're still doing it. The results are going to come, but don't lose sight of like the changes you've already made that you may not see in the mirror. And, dang, those are like the 2 most important. Third one's a struggle. Those came easy.
Right.
Look, those are 2, I think 2 of the best ones.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
you know, and that's good. Like, I'm good with that. That's,
yeah.
You know, I've always looked at working out, fitness, weight loss, muscle gain, just health in general, is it's a macro game. Like it's nanomites that you gain every day.
Yeah.
Right. You're not, you may go to the gym for 6 months, and when you started, you weighed 165 pounds, and 6 months later, you're 164 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. You may be the exact same weight, but you're going to look totally different.
Composition.
You're going to feel totally different, and you're probably going to act totally different.
Yeah.
And then
I'm struggling with that right now. I have, my weight has only gone down a couple of pounds in the last 10 days, but my pants fit looser. So even though, and like logically I know, okay, I'm also lifting heavier weights. So I'm getting stronger, which means I'm building muscle, which, you know, and all the density of muscle is more blah, 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 all this and that. But my body's changing. But man, I'm telling you, it sucks to get on a scale. Yeah. And you see that, and that, like, it happened yesterday. It was almost to the 10th, the exact same number. And I was like, damn, like, just like, what, you know, but I rolled my eyes when you said consistency.
Yeah.
I have seen that word pop up in my life more in the last 2 weeks than I ever recall. I see it almost every day.
It's a sign.
And it is. And it is just a reminder that is just, and now I'm almost embracing it. Just like, all right, yeah. But I rolled my eyes like, there it is again. Like, it was the first thing you said. He goes, give me 3 things. Consistency. Like this, you know. Well, and I did a hard eye roll. I don't know. Like, go back, look at that trend. I was like, oh, jeez. Like,
there was a study done that if you do any discipline 18 minutes a day,
the 100 rule, or is that what it's called?
Rule of 100.
Rule of 100, yeah.
Yeah. So if you do something 18 minutes a day, it's 100 hours in a year, right? So if you did that 18 minutes a day, whatever it is, whether it's hitting a baseball, lifting weights, or reading a book or whatever, that you are going to be better than 95% of the rest of the population in the world.
Yeah.
At the end of that year. I mean, just think about that. 18 minutes a day. So if you went out and walked as fast as you could walk for 18 minutes a day, how much healthier would you be at the end of a year?
Yep.
Right? If you drank a gallon of water, if you did whatever it is, right? If you just change something minute and take small steps. I used to tell people about my fitness journey when me and my wife first got together, and I was 240 something pounds, had a 40-inch waist, got out of breath trying to tie my shoes, and I'm 5'6" on a good day. So like that's heavy, right? Yeah. And I was just completely out of shape, and I just got tired of it. And the only thing that I changed was, instead of putting this big workout plan and calling a trainer and starting to meal prep and get all the supplements and everything, I just went downstairs the next morning and started walking on the treadmill. Like you, right?
Yeah.
And then, but I had enough, and the consistency of doing that every single day, I gave myself some grace, and one day I would take off.
Yeah.
One day I just wouldn't go do that. And then that turned into running, which turned into working out just more. Evolved. Yeah. And it just evolved over time. It's the same thing. I think, you kind of nailed it, and you're right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
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 And one thing I want to add too, and I'd say this would be my third, thinking off of what you guys are saying is, so that a lot of people make the mistake of just, maybe they want to start and they hire the first like Instagram influencer they see that's jacked and has like so many clients and 500,000 followers.
Yeah.
Don't fall into that trap. Don't jump on the first meal plan you see or the first thing. I tell you what, it enrages me because they bring so many people in and give them all pretty much the same thing and just tweak stuff a little bit. And the fact of the matter is everybody's different. I told you my diet.
Yeah.
I eat like a pound of beef and 10 eggs and like a stick of butter for dinner every day. That's all I eat pretty much. And I'll probably throw in a cookie there somewhere, like right after I work out, because I love my sweets. But I mean,
was that Pizookie?
Yeah, Pizookie, or who knows, alpha cookies. But, but I never thought that would be doable. I mean, that's not what you're taught to eat like, but my body has reacted to that better than anything ever. And so I stick with it consistently. So just understand that, like, do your research, ask the questions. If you're feeling off or like something's not working for you, there's a lot of other ways to go, but we all react differently to foods, and our mechanics are even different. So we can't train exactly, say we hit a pull down or whatever the exercise is. We may have to do it a little bit differently than this person to actually make it effective, right? So just do your research, be patient, understand that it's complex, and that's not scary. You just got to like test things out along the way. And one day it'll click what makes you feel the best and where you see the results, and you can charge forward.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Are you taking new clients?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Always. Want to pay up? No, I'm just kidding.
Yep. Yeah. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Give it to him.
Hey, love to
Y'all
work
call
with you.
Joe.
Yep.
He'll get you in shape.
Mm-hmm.
Or piss you off, one.
It's okay.
Right. Or both. Yeah.
I'll just do the big, like, what's the eye? I don't know. I was watching this Disney movie and the eyes got all big. Never mind. A lot of Disney movies.
Yeah, right.
Okay, my daughter, there's always a Disney movie or something.
My daughter today, we got in discussion. She's like, "What's your favorite Disney movie?" And I was like, "Well, she's like going off in this and that and whatever." And I was like, "Well, does Cars count?" She goes, "Well, they do own Pixar, but it's not a Disney princess." Man, I was like, "Yeah, okay." So you're throwing in definitions now, like easy. So,
what is your favorite Disney movie?
Man, mine's nostalgic. For me, it's gonna be Aladdin.
Okay.
Going back,
Aladdin is good.
Okay.
Aladdin was
That's
great.
a good one.
Yeah. So my favorite current one, if you will, I dig Moana. Like, I just like they're
dig
good.
what?
Moana. It doesn't matter. You're not a girl dad. You don't know. It's fine. All the girl
Moana's not bad,
dads,
yeah.
all the girl dads know exactly what I'm talking about right now. It's got Dwayne the Rock Johnson in it. Come on. So.
Oh, is that the one where? Yeah. Okay. I know
Yeah,
what
that
you're
one.
talking about. I hadn't seen it.
Yeah. So I know you haven't seen it, Charlie. I didn't think you had seen it.
Look, I'm not scared to watch it.
When you were asking, I'm like, why
watch
are
it.
you asking? Like you're going to know this conversation. So
I might watch it.
let Joe come back 2 years and we can have a conversation about Disney movies.
Shoot, I'll go ahead and tell you now, before my daughter, I was watching all these movies. So I'll let me see.
Yeah, I love it. So that's great. That's
Make
great.
the beard and the tattoo fool. Yeah,
I know,
I'll get
right?
down with a Disney Cinderella movie.
Yeah.
Moana?
Moana's good though. It's good.
right.
It's
It
good.
is
It's got a
pretty
different
solid.
vibe to it.
Lots of singing.
Well, I mean, that's a Disney
bit.
princess movie, but it's got a good flash to it. So
Okay.
I dig it.
Moana. You got to text me that later. I had to pull it up. Can I get it on Netflix?
I have no idea.
think you
I'm
can.
sure it's on Disney Plus.
It is on Disney.
I have I don't.
Killing me,
So
D. You killing me.
man. You want a Friday feel good?
Give me a Friday.
All right, and today's conversation could not have gone better for what my Friday feel good already lined up.
Outstanding.
Guys, your Friday feel good, win one day at a time. That's all you can do. Just today, win today, and then win that day again. And when you do that multiple times in a row, you're going to make a lot of improvement. You're going to get to where you want to go, but don't look at the big overall picture. Just win one day at a time. Y'all know what to do. Find somebody you know. Tell them you love them. That's it, man.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Win
I love
today.
it. Joe,
Good stuff.
it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Hey.
If people want to find out how to get in touch with you and get involved with Relentless Pursuit, how can they do that?
All right. So, first of all, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I've had a blast. You know what I'm saying? You guys are awesome. It just all around great conversation. It went all different ways and it all tied back in. I mean, I had a killer time. So thank you all for having me. It was a pleasure. And I'll come back anytime. Just kidding.
Love
but
it.
I'd
We'll do
love
it.
to have both of y'all on mine
We'll
too.
do
Like,
it.
but we'll do,
Yeah.
you know, all of us. But in order to find me, so I'm back on Instagram after being deleted for a while. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
my sister runs the page because they got
Okay.
Instagram has my Wi-Fi. So it's insane. Yeah. So like I can't.
I just want to interject here. I'm glad to hear this because I didn't know, and I was searching you up today. I was like, why can't I find this on Instagram? So
I had like
Anyway.
Oh man, I had a huge shutdown happen. All my pages. It was crazy in January. Yeah. So my sister started a page about 4 weeks ago. So it's at rp.tilldeath, TILDEATH on Instagram. So till death is just Relentless Pursuit till death. You know, that's what it's all about. But rp.tilldeath. So you can find us on Instagram, you know, sharing podcast clips and getting some content out there. Website is relentlesspursuitlifestyle.com for any updates for events and stuff we're doing. TikTok at RP_SweetP. And Relentless Pursuit on Facebook. So find us, reach out, and if you want to shoot me an email for training or got any inquiries about, you know, anybody wanting to be a guest on my show, Relentless Pursuit Lifestyle at gmail.com. So anyways,
I love it.
Yeah,
That
put
is
it all out there.
outstanding.
Yeah.
That is outstanding. Joe, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. It has been an absolute pleasure. Folks, you can catch us every week. If you want to get involved with us here at Singletree, please feel free to reach out to me at charlie@singletreebbq.com. Give me a call at 615-307-0120. And until next time, we'll see you then.
y'all be good.
Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, leave us a 5-star review and come see us at the restaurant.